So the floral groups, I'm calling them orders instead of houses, and then noble houses can still be called houses, but they're part of an order, you know? So wait, I'm not saying House of Crash, House of Roses, right? It's not double house. How does that work, right? No, it's Order of Roses and stuff like that.
Okay.
And the not major houses or major orders, like the Dahlia, for example, are called fellowships. The Fellowship of Dahlias. Nice little the rings tie-in, you know. So yeah, so bringing the Dahlia to Eulania. If you keep it publicly around, people are gonna probably ask you where you got it from. Is it related to the Fellowship of Dahlias? Did you get awarded this? So as long as you I don't know how to say, it's like if you don't try to do stolen valor with it, you're right. If you're like, oh yeah, I totally earned this from the Fellowship of Dahlias. I fought a god. Cool. Right? That's like a pub. That's like if there was such a thing, there's a record of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't do that, and you're just like, oh, I guess it depends how you say it. Like if you tell people you made it, they're gonna ask you how you made it, right? There's gonna be a lot of questions. If you say you found it, they're gonna ask you where you found it, right? So no matter which way you spin it publicly, it's still public, and that will introduce its own inquiry.
Yeah, I think with that note, if it's not too sudden for you, Fred, we're on the road for your reference. Dahlia's probably gonna approach Caradoc asking about the Fellowship of. Is it of the Dahlia or the Fellowship of
Dahlias?
Dahlias.
Okay.
You settle on up.
Dahlia.
If Fred is good. If Fred is.
Yeah.
If not, it can wait a little bit. But she would ask him before.
Okay, here we can do a really fast recap.
I was thinking that right now.
Oh, perfect. Okay, good. Okay, continue then, Alec. Take an inspiration for helping.
Thank you.
So yeah, you're on the road right now, Caradoc. You guys have been traveling for, I'll say this around like afternoon time, around 2 o'clock or so. You guys have been traveling on the road, having left your lakeside leisure incident, and are on the way to Glenlane. You guys are getting close to the Eulonian threshold, so to speak, of its light, its border. Riza did remark aloud to all of you that she and Tao will be taking her leave, as she put it, when you guys arrive at a break in the road next to 2 toppled trees. You have no clue how far that is. She didn't elaborate, and she doesn't seem to be paid to tell you. So, yeah, you guys are getting close, though, or she would have made the remark. As you are walking around, Dahlia had sort of slowed her gait or sat in the carriage, whichever one, and began examining what's up with the Dahlia that Grover gifted her. And now she approaches you with a look of amusement and inquiry upon her face. So what do you ask?
Caradoc.
Hello.
I have a question for you.
All right. What's on your mind?
Eulania has this whole thing with flowers, right? You've mentioned it a couple times now.
I have.
I don't imagine this is going to go unnoticed, so I think I know a little bit about what I'm going to be asked about. Motions to the Dons.
Ah, right. Well, there's the Fellowship, Dahlias. If you're thinking about floriography, what it represents, it's, I mentioned inner strength to you in the past.
Dahlia's
But
nodding.
it's also, in a way, magic, but maybe not the way you think. More theological.
She tilts her head.
The study of?
I see.
Is there anything in particular you were concerned about with the flower?
I mean, if you want to have a look at it, feel free, but I haven't gathered much other than if, hypothetically, and I don't plan on doing this, but if I were to break it down, I'd get quite a bit of material out of it. Other than that, it is unique.
Yeah, sure.
Little Taru
I
was
wouldn't
saying
mind.
something. Sorry, go ahead.
I wouldn't mind taking a quick closer look. Sure, what I'd be able to tell. The curiosity and all that.
Dahlia hands it over, trusting you to be careful with it.
Yeah. Handle with care.
What would you like to roll to determine this? Because Dahlia's take on it is pretty, how to say, down to earth. That's how her alchemy works. But you are more of a studied herbalist, medic, physician, apothecary, whatever term you want to use. So what skill would you like to roll to figure something out? Knowing, as always, well, maybe not always, but as often, depending on what you pick to roll, I will give you different information.
Yeah. I think what would make sense for Caradoc is he would approach the study of this from a medical standpoint.
Okay. Roll me medicine then.
Medicine.
I'll say I had advantage because Dahlia rolled so well on her roll.
One more coming up.
Yeah, the first one was really good to begin with, so not too surprising. Let's see. Medically speaking, there is really the main point or main catch of it is that it would be a very potent component. And we'll touch on that in a second here. It does have innate medical capability just in its current form. It's very, very, very light, but it technically does exist. When light hits the Dahlia and it bounces off of it, if you're in close proximity of it, it does have a very, again, light healing property. Not so much knitting together wounds, moreover dealing with certain types of sickness.
Oh, that's
Yeah, not even all types of sickness. Like, it probably wouldn't have been effective against a spore plague because they're spores, right? That's more physical.
yeah.
But like more internal disease and stuff like that, it might be handy. If you kept it there for a long, extended period of time. Take a bit, but technically is helpful. Now, onto the actual component aspect. If you were to break it down, make tea out of it, no, not really. Well, maybe a little bit, but distill it down into its core components and stuff like that. It could probably do a number of things. One of which is obviously physical healing, knitting together wounds. It would also potentially help deal with, I'll call it madness. There is something about its restorative capability, which perhaps isn't too surprising, given that the Fellowship of Dahlias is more of a mental faculty-based faction. If you were to break this down, the essence of this Dahlia would be able to reach into the depths of one's mind and soothe pains in it. Bouts of insanity, madness, etc. In theory, it could be an antidepressant, in theory, but it would only work for as long as you have
The dose.
the dosage, yeah. So there is that. And it would be very potent. Maybe not surprised given that Grover's the one that made it, but it would be quite potent. Such that you could probably water it down to make it not super potent, but general, okay potent for a longer time. And that's one other thing that catches about this. Either because it's still alive or by something in its very nature. If you guys were to use this to make something, that concoction would last a long time.
Okay.
Much more so than oftentimes the 1 week potions last outside of zones of light. And even sometimes in zones of light, depends on how good the alchemist is, they might still be decaying. So, it has a number of different, not just physical, but also psychological benefits. Oh, something since you're the one rolling this. You're a spellcaster. You've heard tale, albeit very distantly, from your ancestral journal about mage wounds. That's not the official term for them, but has a bouts in which a spellcaster's ability to cast spells is damaged. And that is dependent upon what type of caster they are and so on.
Yeah.
But those wounds are normally permanent. This might actually be able to fix some of them.
Holy
yeah,
shit.
they've been fixed other times by other spellcasters, and if you're more of a faithful-based healer, you can go visit your temple and reassert your devotion to your divinity, that would fix it and stuff like that. But if you're like an arcane spellcaster, that's a too fulling thing to try to fix. But this would probably alleviate such pains.
And Caradoc would know that Grover made this, yeah?
Oh yeah, you're there when he gifted it.
Okay, yeah. Well, I suppose I shouldn't be surprised considering creation. This is there's so many possibilities. Probably soothe madness, wounds to your arcane potential, or I don't know, any number of medicinal treatments. And although I suppose what would make the most sense for you is to understand anything that you make with this in it is probably going to last longer than something you made without it.
Probably because it keeps itself alive, right?
Yes. Although you having this where we're going is going to raise a lot of questions.
Afraid of.
I hand it back.
Should I be hiding it?
If it's hidden and later discovered, that will cause you bigger problems. Makes the questions all the more keen.
Falter to come up with a satisfying answer. You'll have my back, right?
Sorry, your accent there for a second. Can you repeat that?
You cut out a bit.
If I falter to come up with a satisfying answer to any questions, you'll have my back, right?
I will.
I'm not gonna lie about it. Well, I'm not the smoothest talker.
Caradoc thinks for a second as I ask Crash a question.
Yes, sir. Oh, you're typing it to me.
No, I'm formulating the thought in my head as I'm thinking.
All good.
If somebody said this was gifted to me, and they would obviously ask by whom, and the answer was an Ash Warden, how would that be received? I'm assuming with more questions.
Not necessarily. The Ashwarns aren't received well in most countries, most nations. Eulonia is one of the countries they are received well in.
Yeah.
They have an ongoing working relationship with some houses of Eulonia. So that might be enough to satisfy some people. Right?
Yeah.
Some other people, how it says, the more down to earth a person is, the more acceptable that will be as an answer. Mostly because there's like, oh man, that's awesome, that's crazy, oh, what a good story, I'll tell everyone about. That's it. To a higher end person, like a nobleman, they might have more questions.
Yeah.
Not ones of inquisition, but probably ones of inquiry and curiosity. So telling the truth might genuinely be a good avenue forward.
Well, I didn't realize the case until after I had a little walkabout, but Ash Wardens are pretty well received here. Well, only. So, an honest reply, where you got it, will get you very far. Most people will say, wow, that's really fascinating, tell me more. If they are a person of note, station, they might have more questions for you, but I don't think they would trouble necessarily, unless they've really invested in something regarding the flower fellowship.
Dahlia's nodding along, like, okay.
But if you express, honest, this was a gift to me, given to me, and Ash wouldn't know in this context, in this circumstance, I think that will get you far.
Tucks back in her hair. Well, thank you for your input. I appreciate it.
He contemplates again for a second. If somebody saw Dahlia in specific wearing a dahlia, they obviously wouldn't know that's her name, but she is an unusual sight.
Yes, she is.
That alone will attract attention, and then
Oh yeah,
novelty plus familiar symbol, logical assumption, association. How would people figure that equation out, or would they?
that might change depending on where you're at. Nothing bad. Well, yeah, nothing bad for Dahlia. Maybe something for Badger, but we'll get there when we get there. Goblins' notorieties are pretty widespread. I digress though. But yeah, Dahlia's people are pretty isolated, both in terms of their culture as well as geographically. So if they saw Dahlia, they might not know what to make of her overall. And that's going to be a point, I guess, similar to Irina, although Irina's a different avenue, where first impressions are going to be quite important, right? If you describe your people as like a savage, warlike people are going to have some different takes on you versus if they just know you, right? Just you as a person, which is generally pretty true across Ulonian culture, right? They don't always assign stereotype, I guess, national trait to people just because they're from a nation. Do they allow themselves to get proven to such? Yes, absolutely. But on first impressions, they generally are pretty open. So Dahlia would probably be fine just as a member of the Guru. She's got to bring a lot of questions as to, like, what the fuck are you? But she'll be fine. And then when it comes to the Ash Warden gifting the Dahlia flower, I think that's, to your perception, or your, I'll call it forecasting, that's only going to sort of cement how foreign she is, how different she is, in a good way, right? She can introduce herself, I'm Dahlia, this is a Dahlia given to me by an Ash Warden. Ash Wardens are well received in Ulonia, so if an Ash Warden gave it to you, you're probably a good person, right?
Yeah, I'll share that information, round that up with a... If you're going to put your effort into something, make it a good first impression.
I'm just great at those.
Well, you have some time to practice. Honestly, they're not going to know what to make of you, so you have pretty much a clean slate to present yourself however you like.
I think...
You hear a voice in your head. It is unsurprisingly low Trevu.
Thank God. That'd be scary if it wasn't. Well, I guess we got people with magic.
A clean slate. Ain't that something? We can be whatever we make of ourselves. I like that.
Caradoc can see Dahlia go to reply to him and then stop and get very contemplative. She thinks real hard about this. Blank slate. That is interesting, isn't it?
No tribe to hold us back, no tradition to shackle us down. None. It's all ours for the taking.
Can't just leave family behind like that.
They left us behind just as easy.
That's different.
Sides. You got this slot now, don't you? You like them so much. Eh. Whatever. They're useful. And they grow quiet at that.
Works out. Look at the rest of the group.
They're doing group activities. Some patty cake.
Trust falls. Okay.
That's all, yeah. Crocheting. Falk is teaching how to spin guns.
Fuck doesn't know how to spin guns.
Okay, yeah, right. My bad. Falk is teaching people how to properly wear a hat.
And if you want to look saucy, you can turn it on
Ooh.
its axle like this. And you can click tilt the hat.
Haberdashing.
Ooh.
Saucy, no.
Saucy, no.
Moving on. You see your party still walking and traveling beside you.
Yeah.
If you want one piece of advice how to converse with my fellow countrymen,
Sure.
be not forceful, but be sure, certain what you're saying. Assured in your conviction. If what you say is what you say, you speak the truth, it will be accepted as such. If you hesitate, if you doubt, if you verbally skulk about your intent, no one's going to believe. You're not sparring, you're dueling.
Eulonia sure is a change. Change from everything I've heard of, everything I've known.
Well, I hope you find it to be a good change. Time will tell.
Nod with them.
And so, you guys continue your travels. Let's take a 5-minute break. Give Fred some time to acclimate, get his own smackies or whatever. Read the thing Alex sent him.
Yes, thank you, Alex.
Gonna be a final call of you guys want to do anything on the road. Eva does have something with Caradoc that evening, but we'll get there when we get there, when we come back. Okay. So I'll see you guys in 5 minutes.
Okay.
We'll go throw some stuff away because I was having snacks.
Oh, you were having snacks, were you?
Yeah, it's Tres Leches. Fuck you.
Oh,
Delicious.
Ooh, she saw the Leviathan
She did, yeah.
and the absence of her brother. Awesome.
My roommate stole
wanna-
Swiss rolls from work for me.
Hey.
what?
Swiss roll. It's
Nothing.
sweet.
Ooh.
He didn't steal anything. What are you talking about?
I remembered I have another one. I'll be right back.
Alright, have
You
fun, don't get
shall be
lost.
back soon.
That
Sorry,
was
Kirsty, I cut you off.
agreed. No, it's fine. I was talking shit.
Damn.
Yep.
I've been trying to think of if I can figure out a way to convince Tal to stay with the group, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to
Yeah.
break him away from Riza in terms of like traveling with her,
Oh, of course.
because she's not staying, right? So.
No, no.
Tell she doesn't love you like I do.
Absolutely not.
That's okay.
Isn't she like
It has been 2 evenings.
Isn't she like the thing that's keeping him from like snapping altogether and going, lethal killing machine on all of us?
Yeah,
That's
she is
besides the point.
She is the
Oh
thing,
my
you're right.
god. Is Dahlia doing it? I can fix him, because I swear to god.
No,
No.
she's doing
What?
the we can both be feral together.
No.
Of course, sorry, my apologies.
She's got a voice in her head that agrees with her, okay?
Oh god.
They're bonding.
They're toxic.
Oh my god, he took off his visor.
I mean,
and
he
Let me
did.
tell you,
And he was freaking hot. Oh my god.
I went absolutely
Jesus
feral.
Christ.
God, I just shouldn't say anything.
No, but really, I'm happy for you too. Welcome back.
Hi.
What the fuck?
I said hi to you. I said hi to you first.
Eat
Someone-
shit, Kersey.
Damn. I really undug a hole and then dug a deeper hole.
Mhm.
What was the joke nickname you had for Irina?
Hmm?
Oh, it was
He's
hallucinogenic
had a
mushrooms or
couple.
something?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that was it. Yeah.
Mood altering hallucinogenic spores. That's what I call Kirsty.
Aw, that's so sweet.
You alter his mood.
Mostly the
Make him
spores thing. I think
hallucinate.
she's infested my lungs.
You
Oh, nice, Kirsty. I didn't know you guys were that far.
No, talking how I say this comment is the second she also disappeared off the face of the earth. Perfect. About what
Yeah,
I
I know,
expected.
Through
Shit.
me.
You've already infested his
Black
lungs.
malignant.
Congrats.
Melanin.
Ah, that's unhygienic. So I zoned off for a second, then I heard my name, and I was like, what? What? I missed that entire fucking bit there. My apologies.
Well,
Nope,
all
it's
you
gone
need to
now,
know
it's
is that your
dead.
spores are in his lungs, and I think that's cute for you too. So
I mean, I think it's unhygienic, but okay.
LOL.
all right. Well, clearly someone doesn't understand how female anatomy, Kirsty.
Mm.
You know anatomy, what?
I'm back.
Hello, my
Doesn't even
boy.
know about spores.
I'm sort of concerned now, like...
Don't even worry about it. You'll learn one day.
Oh, okay.
When you're older.
Is this when I finally get the birds and the bees talk?
When you're old enough, we'll tell you about the spores.
For that, you have to ask the mind
Mhm.
goblin.
Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
What's a mind gold?
Yeah.
It's a
It's
psionic.
It's psionic.
Greco, what's a mind goblin, man? Why would you,
Oh my
why would you
God.
ask me about mind goblins if you aren't going to elaborate what a mind goblin is? I've been watching Legends of Adventures, like the actual like sessions.
hmm
It's not as like, how to say this. There's a lot of moments that they don't make clips of. I understand because they're not as peak as those other moments, but
Right.
it's still pretty good. There is a lot of dicking around. There is an
Yes.
immense amount of dicking around.
Oh, yeah.
It is so
I
intense.
imagine, yeah.
And I really feel for Nikki, their GM, because she's definitely playing from the book, the actual like setting or module guide. And I feel for her because I can tell like when she does something versus when the book does something, and every time, or not every time, but a lot of times when she does something, it's because they've done something so fucking stupid.
It's like the book did not
And I'm
account
like,
for this.
I applaud their creativity and dicking around, but also at the same time, I'm like, damn, it's just I feel for you, girl. I feel for you.
Yeah, she's got to like
You're
dig
doing like a
them out of whatever
YouTube
hole
show,
they've
so I
got.
mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
they all know what they've gotten into, right?
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Chaos gremlins.
I also did there was a clips
Mind
maybe
gremlins.
maybe it did to you guys, but for me I didn't understand the pacing of everything because I just had the clips to go on. There's a lot that they do before like certain things happen. I'm like, holy shit!
I haven't looked into the show at all.
I'd recommend it. It's very funny.
They also have
That's
a
like the
lot of
intimate stuff.
campaigns. They have a lot of different flavors of campaigns. They mix it up a lot.
Yeah.
But the most popular one is the Bay
Witch
Lights or whatever it's called. Witch Lights.
Must be getting pretty popular as well, because I swear to God, like everyone I know is
Yep.
like talking about
Yep.
these days as well. Like, oh Jesus.
I
Really
cast
taken
gun. Prepare to die.
Yeah, it really took off like
Prepare to be
6 months
God.
ago, the little shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Prepare
yeah.
to be God.
Because I've got a friend that will just quote that fucking clown, like, just off the hook, 24/7. And if we're doing a game or something,